The birth of Persia. In the heart of the ancient Near East, where the Zagros Mountains stretch across the horizon and fertile valleys cradle life, a people arose whose influence would span continents and centuries, the Persians. Long overshadowed by older powers such as Babylon and Assyria, the Persians were originally a collection of tribes living on the Iranian plateau, simple herders and farmers who navigated harsh terrain with resilience and cunning. Yet even in their early days, the Persians demonstrated qualities that would define an empire: adaptability, unity, and ambition. They were not content with isolation. They learned from their neighbors, absorbed lessons from older civilizations, and prepared to challenge the status quo. It was in this crucible of geography, culture, and necessity that Cyrus the Great would emerge. He was not the first Persian ruler, but he would become the most influential, the one who transformed a small tribal kingdom into a vast empire stretching from the Indus River to the Aegean Sea. This story is not merely about battles and conquest. It is about vision, governance, and the melding of cultures under a single banner. It is about an empire that thrived on diversity, yet maintained cohesion, setting a model for civilizations to come. As we journey through the rise of Persia, we will witness the formation of an empire that combined military prowess, sophisticated administration, and a respect for the cultures it conquered, an empire that changed the course of history forever. Cyrus the Great, founder of an empire. Cyrus II, known to history as Cyrus the Great, rose to power in the mid-6th century BCE. Under his leadership, Persia transformed from a minor kingdom into a global power. Cyrus was not only a formidable military strategist, he was also a ruler with vision and diplomacy. Unlike many conquerors of his time, he preferred to integrate cultures rather than destroy them. In 550 BCE, he united the Medes and Persians, creating the backbone of the empire. With this alliance, he challenged the dominant powers of Mesopotamia, particularly Babylon. His campaigns were swift, calculated, and effective. In 539 BCE, Cyrus entered Babylon, not as a destroyer, but as a liberator. The city, weary of its own decadence and oppression, welcomed him. It was here that Cyrus issued the famous decree recorded on the Cyrus Cylinder, a declaration that allowed exiled peoples, including the Jews, to return to their homelands and practice their religions freely. This act is often regarded as the first charter of human rights in history, a testament to Cyrus's forward-thinking governance. Cyrus understood that ruling such a vast empire required more than military might. It required respect, flexibility, and organization. His success laid the foundation for the Achaemenid Empire to flourish for more than 2 centuries. Expansion and the Immortals. The Persian military was revolutionary. Its backbone was an elite unit known as the Immortals, 10,000 soldiers who never fell below that number, reinforcing the aura of invincibility. The Immortals were heavily armed, highly disciplined, and capable of rapid deployment across vast distances. Beyond the Immortals, the Persian army incorporated diverse troops from across the empire: cavalry from Central Asia, archers from Anatolia, and infantry from Mesopotamia. This diversity became one of Persia's greatest strengths, allowing flexible strategies in battle. Expansion under Cyrus and later Cambyses, his son, stretched the empire from the Indus River in the east to the Aegean coast in the west, including Lydia and Egypt. Strategic diplomacy accompanied military conquest, often convincing cities to surrender peacefully rather than face destruction. The Persian military was not only about conquest, but also about psychological dominance. Soldiers marched in uniform formations, wore distinctive armor, and carried banners symbolizing royal authority. Every battle, every campaign projected the empire's power, ensuring obedience even before swords were drawn. Administration and culture. Cyrus and his successors understood that ruling an empire spanning thousands of miles required organization. Darius I, known as Darius the Great, implemented the satrapy system, a provincial administration in which each region was governed by a satrap, reporting directly to the king. Taxes were standardized, roads were constructed for rapid communication, and messengers could traverse the empire with unprecedented speed. The Royal Road, stretching over 2,500 kilometers, connected major cities, facilitating trade, diplomacy, and governance. Despite this centralization, cultural diversity was celebrated. Local customs, languages, and religions were respected. Temples were maintained, festivals observed, and local elites incorporated into governance. This balance of unity and tolerance became a hallmark of the Persian administration. Architecture flourished. Persepolis, Darius's capital, stood as a testament to Persian grandeur. Colossal columns, carved reliefs of delegations bringing tribute, and palaces adorned with exquisite stonework communicated the empire's power and sophistication. Art, literature, and technology thrived alongside governance and military organization. Darius the Great, organizer of the empire. Darius I, ascending the throne in 522 BCE, inherited a vast but diverse empire. He refined the administrative systems, introduced standardized weights and measures, and restructured the taxation system. Darius understood that stability required infrastructure. Roads, canals, and fortified cities allowed rapid movement of troops and goods. He commissioned monumental constructions, including the Apadana Palace in Persepolis, adorned with reliefs depicting the empire's far-reaching influence. Under Darius, the empire achieved its zenith in both size and efficiency. Governors enforced the king's laws while local traditions persisted, creating a balance between central authority and regional autonomy. Darius's reign exemplifies the Persian ideal: strength through organization and respect for diversity. Persian wars with Greece. Conflict with Greece became the defining challenge for Persia. Beginning under Darius and continuing under his son Xerxes, Persian expansion collided with the independent city-states of Greece. The Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE demonstrated the resilience of the Greek hoplites against Persia's numerically superior forces. Decades later, Xerxes launched an enormous invasion, crossing the Hellespont on massive pontoon bridges and assembling one of the largest armies in history. Despite the scale and organization of the Persian forces, Greek ingenuity, terrain familiarity, and naval strategy led to setbacks at battles like Salamis. These conflicts tested the limits of Persian power and demonstrated that sheer size and organization were not always decisive. Yet, even in failure, the Persian approach left its mark. Disciplined armies, logistical planning, and combined arms strategies would influence military thought for generations. Xerxes, the height of power. Xerxes I, son of Darius, inherited the greatest empire of the ancient world. His vision was unparalleled: to consolidate Persian dominance and punish those who resisted. The crossing of the Hellespont remains legendary, a feat of engineering and organization. Xerxes' campaigns demonstrated the grandeur of Persia, but also its vulnerability. While he commanded enormous armies, distant supply lines and hostile terrain created challenges. Ultimately, resistance in Greece, combined with overextension, curtailed his ambitions. Despite setbacks, Persia at Xerxes' height was a marvel, a melting pot of cultures, religions, and economies, unified under a single imperial identity. Cities flourished, trade routes prospered, and the Persian model of governance inspired admiration and fear across the known world. Decline and fall. No empire is eternal. After Xerxes, internal struggles, succession disputes, and external pressures gradually weakened Persia. Revolts in Egypt and Anatolia challenged central authority. Meanwhile, Macedonia rose to prominence under Philip II, and eventually his son, Alexander the Great. In 334 BCE, Alexander began his campaign into Persian territories. Despite valiant resistance, the Persian armies were defeated in key battles: Granicus, Issus, and finally Gaugamela. In 330 BCE, Persepolis fell, burned in a symbolic act that marked the end of Persian dominance. The empire that had spanned 3 continents, united diverse peoples, and pioneered administration, military, and culture now became history. Yet its influence endured in governance models, infrastructure, and cultural exchange. The legacy. The Persian Empire's legacy is vast. Its administrative systems informed subsequent empires, including the Seleucid, Parthian, and even Roman states. The respect for local customs, religions, and languages became a model for ruling multi-ethnic domains. Architectural and artistic achievements, from Persepolis to intricate reliefs, continue to inspire awe. The Persian approach to governance, combining centralized authority with cultural tolerance, set a benchmark for civilizations that followed. Though the empire fell to Alexander, the Persian spirit survived in culture, tradition, and influence across the Middle East and beyond. From military strategy to civil administration, the lessons of Persia echo through time. Empires rise and fall, but the Persian Empire reminds us that vision, organization, and respect for diversity can create a legacy that outlives even the most powerful armies.